All right. Hey, how y'all doing? We are back for another review of Tyler Perry's Sisters. I'm not gonna keep saying Tyler Perry because I think at this point we all know that it is a Tyler Perry production. So I'm just gonna keep saying Sisters because it's a lot of words and my throat be hurting. Okay, so we're back for season 1, episode 2 of Sisters on BET. Let's get into it. All right, so Andy is talking to Gary's wife, and the shit is uncomfortable. Like she is, telling us how Gary ain't shit and whatever. So Andy pauses the conversation to go into the bathroom and talk to Karen, and Karen lets her know, like, hey, you need to tell your boss about the situation. And then Andy goes immediately to try to tell her boss, but he's not having it. He doesn't really hear her out, so she never really gets to tell him, and sends her back to the wife to finish the conversation because she only wants to work with her. Right. So Andy tries to warm hand her off to another lawyer that is just as good as her, just so she doesn't have to deal with the situation. And the wife is not having it. The wife tells her that, she only wants to work with her. She was recommended to her, so she's the only person she wants to work with. Um, and the wife also tells Andy that Gary's a liar, he's a cheater, he's an abuser, like he's all these different things. And Andy goes on to ask her, like, hey, do you have proof of the affairs? And she tells her no. But she tells her that she did hire a private detective in order to kind of beat Gary to the punch before he can further hide anything else from her. Because these things are going to come up in the divorce settlement, I'm sure. And Gary's wife tends to think the woman that he's cheating with is at a gym or works at a gym, and this is because the detective follows him to the same gym that is across from Andy's house on Wednesdays or whatever their little designated time and day is, and tells him, like, hey, he goes to this gym at 5, but he doesn't go in until 6. Like, he goes there, but he doesn't go in for an hour. Well, yeah, this is the hour that Gary is always in Andy's house because he always leaves her house and goes straight to the gym. So the detective hasn't been able to put together that Gary goes across the street to Andy's house and then goes back across the street to the gym. And hopefully they don't find out by the time the shit starts to hit the fan. So there is a private detective. So Andy needs to get on top of this before the detective figures out that it is her and reports that back to the wife, who is your client, which means who's paying you at this point. Anyway, Sabrina is at work, and the metrosexual dude from her date sent her flowers, and her gay coworker is very, very salty about the situation. We also learned that Karen works at a beauty salon because I didn't figure it out in the first episode. So Karen is a hairdresser. Sabrina works at a bank. Andy is a lawyer, and Danny works at the airport. None of this is really important at this point, but I figured it out. Karen is a hairdresser. All right, moving on. Um, Sabrina and Calvin. Calvin is the metrosexual dude. Sabrina and Calvin go to lunch, and we find out that Calvin has a baby and a crazy baby mama. So there's going to be some baby mama drama that's going to come up this situation with Calvin. And they're talking in this, what we presume to be a gay, flamboyant, very fabulous dude comes up walking up, and they're talking. Him and Kevin are talking, and Kevin's just having this very over the top reaction, like, "Oh my God, my friend is here. I haven't seen you in so long." And they greet each other by doing what? Kissing on the lips. Yep. Calvin kisses the dude on the lips as Sabrina is sitting right there, just being as uncomfortable as possible. I don't think she says anything once Calvin comes back to the table, but she is obviously shaken by the situation. And as a result, when Calvin goes to the bar to get the tab, she hightails it out the door. No bye, no see you later, no good riddance. She just walks out. She just leaves, which I understand. But yeah. We move on, and Karen is still urging Andy to tell her boss about Gary. And we'll see what happens with that. Danny shows up to lunch, and she is confused as to why everybody's at lunch. I guess this isn't a normal occurrence, and so she's real nervous, and she's like confessing all of her sins and all of the charges she has charged on Karen's credit card without her knowledge. And everybody at lunch is just kind of briefing everybody's at lunch and just kind of briefing each other on their lives. They let her know, like, hey, we just want to take you to lunch. We just wanted to have some girl time. And Sabrina's kind of briefing them on Calvin, and everybody is kind of like, kind of told you so. Like, it was kind of funny to everybody. And then we kind of mosey on over to Andy at the table, and we ask her, hey, you said at your birthday party you were going to break it off for Gary. Did you end up breaking it off with Gary? Well, no, because she ended up going home and sleeping with Gary again, and she did not. So she didn't break it off with him. She was lying. She's still digmatized, and hopefully she figures it out before it costs her goddamn way of life, aka her money. Anyway, we come back and we realize that Andy did eventually end up trying to tell her boss what happened, and he isn't having it. Gary's wife is a part of some highbrow society that the law firm can potentially take on his clients, right, in the future. So the successful outcome of Andy and Gary's wife, having a good settlement means that the wife will recommend them to the highbrow society, rich women's group, and that could mean great business for the law firm. So the boss tells her, hey, is this really a conflict of interest? Is this truly a conflict of interest? Meaning, aka, get rid of Gary. If you get rid of him, the problems go away. You can work for this firm. You can bring money in. You can, continue to make a name for yourself. So she has, a choice to make, basically. Okay, so Danny confronts Zach yet again at work, and he claims that he's really trying to do better, and he thinks he has a problem, possibly a sex addiction. And I slightly want to believe him, but I don't want to believe him. I do, but I don't. Contradictory, I know, but he seems very emotional when he's like talking to Danny, and when he's talking to Karen, he has a lot of emotion, but he keeps doing the same thing, so he doesn't have a whole lot of changed behavior. So I don't know, Zach. Anyway, Andy's driving home and she gets a voicemail from Gary saying he hasn't been able to get into contact with her, which I'm assuming is because she's been avoiding him, because who wants to talk to, Gary and then after you got done talking to his wife, like just conflicting emotions he has to deal with throughout the day. So she's been avoiding him. Is my assumption. All right, so we see Karen and she's at the grocery store picking up ice cream, and this dude comes up to her and he's trying to talk to her, and she's kind of standoffish, and he lets her know, hey, this is why I talk to white women and da 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 da. So you see like 20 black women like poke their head out in the aisles, and they're like, did this motherfucker just say what I think it said? And Karen reads him for filth in the middle of the grocery store, like, just that's what's wrong with y'all, da, 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 like just goes on and on and on. And she goes to sit in her car and she starts eating ice cream because she's just not having a good day. And the dude walks up and lets her know, hey, my wife cheated on me, and the first place I came was to the grocery store to get ice cream, so I kind of took some of that out on you. If you could join me, I have ice cream as well. So they end up eating ice cream in the parking lot and just kind of chopping it up. And so I'm assuming they reconcile, and that this guy is going to end up being in Karen's life, in the place of Zach. I don't know. Sure. I don't know how that's going to work out with Zach still being in and out of the house, but she met somebody else that may be better than Zach, which anybody's probably better than Zach at this point. But yeah. In the final scene, we see Danny at the airport, and she sees Gary at the airport with what appears to be someone else. So Danny sees Gary, which is Andy's dude. Well, actually, yeah, that's somebody else's dude, but it's also Andy's dude. Danny sees Gary at the airport with what appears to be somebody, and the somebody with a woman, and the woman appears to not be Danny or his wife. So it should be interesting to see how Danny flies out the handle, seeing Gary at the airport with another woman, or man, because the person seems like they have like a wig on, like they seem very incognito. I don't really know what's happening with that, but whatever. That is episode 2 of SISTAS on BET. So we will see what happens when Danny sees Gary, or actually confronts Gary, and how Andy is going to navigate this conflict of interest that is not really a conflict when it comes to me making my money. in my opinion. But yeah, so I will see y'all in the next episode of Sisters. Peace.